There we
Okay.
go. Okay. I
Yeah.
had to remember if I was recording my computer. Yeah, I think it's computer. Okay. Okay, I'm back. All right, welcome everybody. I am here with Miss Pody, who has graciously allowed us to spend some time with her today, just to share a little bit about her experience. So say hi. Hi, everybody. Pody has just a really inspiring story. And so, which is why I wanted her to share, because I get a lot, I work with people of all problems, age groups, culture. And I thought Pody had a story that would be very relatable to many people that I work with. Pody is 64, and you're from where again, Pody?
Little Rock, Arkansas.
That's right, Arkansas.
Yeah.
And you're the museum director there, is that correct?
Well, chief education officer. So
which is even more
yeah,
important.
I do the education programs.
So Pody is 64 and is open about sharing. She's had a pretty much a more lifetime struggle with food, which again, why I find your story so inspiring. So we're just going to kind of go back memory lane since we worked together now for a couple months. It's been an awesome journey, and you've done well, obviously, and put one foot in front of the other, and we're here today. So, I know I have here, we were just talking about this before the call. I was like, do you remember that long list when your health questionnaire, whenever you first joined? I forgot how long it was as far as exercise programs that you've done. And I'm just going to list them real quick. The Ornish Reversal Program, which we just talked about, Weight Watchers, Diet Center, Optavia, Keto, Atkins, South Beach Diet, Noom, Nutrisystem, Intermittent Fasting, Jenny Craig, Zone Diet, Dash Diet, Mediterranean Diet, Paleo, Slim Fast. I don't know if I could say all of that again.
I probably forgot some.
So we might be missing some here. So, but coming into the program, you weren't just about the weight loss. You wanted to lose weight, but really your first one, A, freedom from food obsession, and you wanting a healthy relationship with food. B was improved health. We have some A1C, issues, cholesterol, triglycerides. And then 3, you wanted some energy and motivation to get up and move, right?
Yes.
Now, your history, like with all that dieting, involves some negative body image, and you were at one point in your history diagnosed with an eating disorder, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, with the bulimia, correct?
Really, yes.
Yeah.
Really early on. Yeah.
Really early on, kind of moved through that. And then when you were coming to me, do you remember what were some of your biggest symptoms that you were coming to me for some help with? Like, what was going on currently? Do you remember? They were really
I mean, it was mostly just being completely obsessed with food. I couldn't stop. Like from the moment I got up to the moment I went to bed, it was it was either thinking about what I wanted to eat, what I shouldn't eat, what I, what was I planning to eat. I mean, it was all like everything. It just seemed like food took up my whole bandwidth in terms of trying to think about my day.
So with your history, did it take you a while to kind of make the decision to do something like really like work with me, for example, to to like build up to that?
Yes, because part of it was I have invested so much money and time in so many programs. And, that was part of it. It's like, and I was just coming off of a program that I had invested a good bit of time and money in, and I was worried about how I was going to come off of that and what I was going to do to maintain that. I just, I thought, here's somebody on Facebook. I don't know. It's going to be a scam. What is it? So I watched your video and I was intrigued because I was like, okay, this doesn't really sound like a diet. This sounds like maybe something more reasonable. And that's what I was looking for, was something that would just help me get past all of this dieting and food obsession.
Did you have any, so coming in, and working with me, did you have some sort of expectation of what you thought you needed to be successful? Was there anything like that going on for you or
not? Because what I thought was, I'm never going to feel successful until I lose the weight. Like I had this, like, you're going to help me figure out how to get to whatever that magic number is that will make me feel better, about myself.
Mm-hmm.
That was kind of the place that I came in, even though I didn't think that this was going to be a diet. I mean, I could kind of tell there was some psychology to it, and maybe something that was a little more science-based, which is something that was really important to me. But I also still thought it was going to be about the weight, about the scale, about that, like getting to that magic number.
And interesting, because okay, see, I learned, that's why I love to do this too, because we get to deep dive into, like, now that we've known each other for a while, you speak freely, right? I was like, people are like, I was scared of you, or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, it just starts to come out, which is really fun.
Yeah.
So interesting. So I didn't realize that was what you thought I was gonna give you, was another
I
something
thought
that
that was the measure of success.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't have, even though I put, I want my A1C and I want to better on moving and everything like that, really ultimately the bar was the number. Like what, like to be able to get to all of those things, I was going to, in my mind, have to lose a certain amount of weight. And, that was the only way that all of those goals were going to be able to be reached.
So what, to your surprise, did you find was most helpful for you to get to a better space today? What are some of the skills that you learned, or the shifts in perspectives? What are some things that you experienced for you?
I think it was understanding the physiology of what is happening, what happens in my brain. Like my stress response to food, my anxiety to food, all of those things, having all of that explained to me and understand what is happening inside of me related to food after years and years. I started dieting when I was 15. And after years and years and years of having this unhealthy relationship with food, there was so much anxiety and so much, just feeling guilty and shameful, and like I was just like, I don't have any willpower. And when I learned through your program what is actually happening, and that it's science-based research, and here is what's going on, it changed the way I thought about myself and other people. We're all just human, and so there's this really human element to everyone's struggle with food.
Absolutely. You took the words out of my mouth. I was planning on kind of adding to what you were already saying. And because you're exactly right, so often I think the individuals, and I mean, I don't blame them. We have our experiences, sort of convince us of what is truth and reality. And really we're just in our own head a lot of the times. But so much, especially like in your case with like the binge eating, right? And how you were thinking is just such a human thing. Understanding, how your body or how your brain automates, how your brain only cares about keeping you alive. So there's so much of just primal wiring that's involved with a lot of your symptoms, right? Including the weight gain and weight loss. That makes perfect sense. It's so, you're right. It turns into a human thing.
Yes.
Rather than a what's wrong with me thing, right?
Right. Yes.
So how have things, like, if you don't mind sharing, just whatever comes up for you, how have things changed for you today? Like, can you give examples? Well, I used to, like for lunch would always be this way, and now I just eat lunch, that kind of thing. Like, what's just changed for you? Give us a little insight to your day.
I think that for one thing, I can go hours without thinking about food, which is a miracle. I mean, that's like, I didn't even expect that. That was just, that was always going to just be this way, so I can go hours without thinking about food. The other thing is that my expectations for myself in terms of what is successful and what feels healthy is different. So I came off of a program when I started with you that I was like really micromanaging every nutrient that I put in my body. Like spent all day planning, measuring, weighing, thinking about how I was going to prepare things, and being afraid that if I didn't do that, then I was just going to undo all the good that I had done for the last few months, so I was going to yo-yo again. I'd lost weight and I was going to gain weight, and that was the thing. So now, I am less inclined to just plan out everything. There are times that I do want to have a plan, and because I feel like I'm kind of heading into a direction that it's like, okay, I don't feel as good when I eat these things.
Right.
So what is it that I need to eat that makes me feel better? So it's more about that. It's more about like what causes me to have energy and to feel better, and what causes me to feel just bloated and weighed down. So it's more about that kind of approach to food rather than, and I don't, it's like I kind of quit for the most part. I still have some of this. So it's not like it's all just miraculously gone away, but I have tools in place when I start to kind of beat myself up for, okay, I just ate something that, I just ate fried chicken or something that it just makes, I don't feel as good. And then I, would beat myself up for 2 or 3 days and end up binge eating over it and eat, just like go into this whole shame and guilt cycle. And now it's more about, okay, well, I ate this. I don't feel as great when I eat this, but I have tools in place that was a decision that I made. I don't have to make that decision tomorrow. I can do something different. I'm not a victim to that decision that I made, which is really different for me. And so sometimes I do make more of a plan. Sometimes I wing it. So it's not like I have this structure in place that is very fear-based, which is what everything for me around food was connected to, fear and anxiety.
100%.
Yeah.
Well, that's quite a drastic difference in a couple months.
Yes.
64, not 5, 64.
Yes. Almost 65.
Because a lot of people think, oh my gosh, I've been doing this my whole life. This is all that I know. How the heck am I ever going to change?
Right.
So thank you for sharing that. And I agree. I think one of the biggest things is, we talked about unpacking and, with the head stuff, letting go of not just the talk, but learning how to be gentle and compassionate doesn't mean lazy or complacent. It's just, you're just not so rigid and such a bully to yourself and end up sabotaging yourself. So that took some time, but we got there.
Yes.
So, huge change. And now you can, like go visit people and I just had what they were having, which some people take for granted, right? That sounds so simple. That's not, you think about those trips and then when you're there, it's anxious. And then when you leave, it's anxious. I mean, it's not easy. Some of those simple things that people take for granted.
I was so afraid so I would have this routine and the structure. So afraid to get out of that routine. Like, okay, I can't go on a vacation because it's going to get me out of this structure. And then I'm just going to never get control again. It was all about trying to keep control. And so that's the thing that I'm really grateful for, is that I don't feel that way anymore. And and sometimes I eat food that, is not necessarily my first choice, but, it's like I'm making a decision to do it. If, it's like I'm on vacation, this is a thing that I'm going to do, and it's not going to be forever. It's not going to turn me into a binge spiral, which is what would have happened in the past.
100%.
Yeah.
So what do you feel like you're freed up to do more of now, because you really were very, very obsessed, food focused for
Yeah.
quite some time. So what do you think, like, where is all that energy going now for you?
Well, I mean, I've got, I have work that I really love
Yeah.
and a family that I really love. And so spending time with people, there are some craft things that I hadn't done that I, like to do. So more of a creative outlet, just more of a
Cool.
social outlet, more, a little more moving. I would still like to move a whole lot more, but I'm getting
You're doing
there.
good there. And I think
I'm doing it.
And I think, it's important to note too, it's not just about you doing those things and putting your energy in there, but it's actually about being present with those things too. You could
Yes.
be with people, you could do crafts, you can do all those things. But if you're still like, when's my next meal? Should I have done that? What's being served?
Yes.
It can strip you of
Yes.
that joy,
Yes.
you know?
Yeah. And I think that you said something that was really key is that learning how to separate facts from feelings is a really big thing for me because, you know, um, decisions that I made about food could trigger all these feelings. Like I said, lots of shame, lots of
Yeah.
guilt,
Yeah.
and kind of breaking that down like you said and unpacking it where I could go, okay, now really what happened here, what is really the truth of this. I ate this thing, okay, that isn't necessarily what I'm going to eat tomorrow. This happened, now I can move on. And so being able to let go of things a
Yeah.
whole lot more, and like I've just really have quit being so hard on myself. I'm not that hard on other people. Why do I treat myself that way? That was kind of when I came to you, I was like, why can't I just love me? you know
True.
uh, and so um, it's helpful to have information that can help you make that switch.
Well, this is definitely a team effort. I help you do the work, but you got to do the footwork, and you did it.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
so, you're obviously doing very well. You've got a lot more freedoms. You've lost a lot of emotional weight. You've also lost a lot of physical weight.
Mhm.
We talked, and we have to get our blood work done here soon, but
Mhm.
your A1C was down from 9.3 to 6.6. That was a couple months ago.
Yeah. Yeah. That was
So
big.
yeah, that's huge. So we've got
Yeah.
even more growth and improvements still coming at you. So it's really exciting. Okay, so now that you've put in the footwork and you've made the changes and you're writing new chapters, what advice do you have to others that maybe are struggling and thinking about maybe getting help? Any words of advice? Let's say if they were to work with me, just from one student to another, what do you have in terms of advice for them?
I would say don't wait. Just don't, give yourself permission to do it.
Hmm.
In I what I love about this is not a diet plan. This is not an exercise plan. This is the most practical, helpful information that I've ever had, relating to food, relating to my emotions about food. If nothing else, if I had not had any other results other than just like not being obsessed on minute to minute about food and eating and all the feelings over it, if that was the only thing that I got out of this, it would have been totally worth it.
Mm-hmm.
Because I got so many other benefits, with the A1C and the other things and the movement and that kind of stuff. I love that. One of the things I told Shelby right away is I hate to exercise. I hate to exercise. And I no longer exercise, but I practice joyful movement. And I love that. I mean, that's just, there's so many good changes like that. So
Oh,
I would just say, don't wait. It's worth it.
good advice. I always
Yeah.
thank you for just being open and honest. And I'm sure there's somebody listening that you have definitely inspired. So thank you very much. I'm done with my Jeopardy questions with you. So we'll wrap this up. Thank you. Go ahead and say bye to anybody that's listening and stay put, okay?
Yeah.